A nuclear weapon should be one of the most heavily protected objects on Earth. Tracked, guarded, controlled. There should always be someone who knows exactly where it is. So how did one disappear? Not stolen, not destroyed, lost. Somewhere off the coast of Georgia, a nuclear bomb was released from an American military aircraft. Search teams looked for it. The military looked for it. Specialists looked for it. They never found it. And decades later, nobody knows exactly where it is. Sounds impossible, but it happened. And the strangest part? This wasn't the only nuclear weapon accident, and it wasn't even the closest America came to a nuclear disaster. The story begins with a collision in the sky. In 1958, a B-47 bomber carrying a nuclear weapon collided with a fighter aircraft during a training exercise. The fighter pilot ejected. The bomber survived. But there was a problem. The bomber was damaged, and it was still carrying a nuclear bomb. The crew faced a decision: try to land with a weapon on board, or get rid of it. The pilot chose the second option. The bomb was released over waters near Tybee Island, Georgia. The aircraft landed safely. The bomb didn't. The military expected to find it quickly. They didn't. At first, nobody seemed too worried. The military launched a search. Aircraft scanned from above, ships searched below, teams combed through the area. This wasn't a lost wallet. This was a nuclear weapon. Surely they would find it, except they didn't. Days passed, then weeks, still nothing. Eventually, the search ended. Think about that. The military knew roughly where the bomb had been dropped. They knew when it happened. They knew what they were looking for, and they still couldn't find it. Officially, the bomb was never recovered, and that's where things become strange. Because the mystery didn't end when the search stopped. It started. Where exactly did the bomb land? Could it have sunk deeper than expected? Was it buried under sediment? Researchers still debate certain details of the incident. One long-running dispute involves whether the weapon contained a nuclear capsule. Official records and interpretations have fueled decades of discussion. But regardless of that debate, one fact remains unchanged. The bomb itself was never recovered. Nobody can point to a location and say with certainty, it's right there. For most people, that sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime mistake. It wasn't. For years, the Tybee incident looked like a bizarre Cold War accident. One strange mistake, one missing bomb, the end of the story. Then researchers started digging through military records and discovered something unexpected. Tybee wasn't unusual. Tybee was one example. As more incidents surfaced, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Lost weapons, aircraft crashes, accidental releases, contamination events. The question was no longer, how did a bomb disappear? The question became, how many times did something like this happen? The answer was more than most people would expect, and one incident was especially alarming because this time, the bomb almost exploded. The missing bomb near Tybee Island was unsettling. What happened next was worse. In 1961, a B-52 bomber broke apart in the skies above North Carolina. On board were 2 nuclear bombs. When the aircraft failed, both bombs were released. And according to later analysis, one of them came dangerously close to detonating. Multiple safety mechanisms failed, one after another, until only a single safeguard remained. And that safeguard held. And somehow, the accidents still weren't over. Just 5 years later, another accident shocked the world, this time over Spain. A B-52 collided with a refueling aircraft in midair. The result was catastrophic. 4 hydrogen bombs fell from the sky, not 1. 4. 2 spread plutonium contamination after impact. Another disappeared into the sea. For a period of time, nobody knew exactly where it was. A massive recovery effort followed before it was eventually located. But by now, a larger question was becoming impossible to ignore. Why did this keep happening? By now, these accidents were no longer isolated incidents, and some weren't happening far from ordinary people. It's easy to think of these incidents as distant Cold War stories, until you realize ordinary people were living underneath them. In 1958, another nuclear weapon was accidentally dropped near Mars Bluff, South Carolina. A family wasn't expecting a military disaster that day. They were just at home. Then a nuclear weapon fell from the sky. The weapon's conventional explosives detonated. People were injured. Property was damaged. Fortunately, the fissile core was absent, meaning a nuclear explosion was impossible. But the experience was real. Imagine hearing that a military aircraft accidentally dropped a nuclear weapon near your neighborhood. Imagine discovering you were standing beneath that flight path, and incidents like these kept accumulating. Eventually, there were enough of them that the military needed a name. The military eventually created an official term for incidents like these: broken arrow. Not enemy attacks, not acts of war. Accidents involving nuclear weapons, lost weapons, aircraft crashes, accidental releases, contamination events. Think about what that means. There were enough nuclear weapon accidents to justify an official category. The missing bomb near Tybee Island wasn't an isolated event. It belonged to a larger pattern. And once you realize that, the story changes completely. Because the real mystery isn't where a single bomb ended up. It's why these incidents kept happening at all. This story began with a simple question: how do you lose a nuclear bomb? But that's no longer the most troubling question. The more unsettling question is, how did systems built to control the most destructive weapons ever created allow accidents like these to happen repeatedly? To be clear, there is no credible evidence that the Tybee bomb was secretly recovered. There is no credible evidence that a foreign government found it. And experts generally do not believe it poses a significant hazard if it remains intact. But uncertainty isn't really the point. The point is that nuclear weapons are supposed to be among the most controlled objects on Earth. Tracked, guarded, accounted for, and yet somewhere off the coast of Georgia, a nuclear bomb may still be sitting exactly where it landed, unrecovered, unmoved, and largely forgotten, which means the answer to our original question is surprisingly simple. You lose a nuclear bomb the same way you lose anything else, one mistake at a time.